You are listening to the Hey Kids Comics Radio Show, broadcast through the facilities of Trent Radio on 92.7 CFFF-FM in Peterborough, Canada.
Hey kids!
Look, up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's dance off, bro! Me and you!
Hello and welcome to Hey Kids Comics. I'm Dan Collins.
Hey there, this is Martin Bruda.
Chris Gilpin.
I'm Adam Bishop.
I'm Chris Ellis.
I'm the Hey Kids Comics Desperado.
I'm Batman.
Who's a villain in Captain Canuck? What does he do? Taking our maple syrup, eh?
I'm gonna chuck my hockey puck in my beer bottle at you. Take off, you hoser.
Gwenpool, Spider-Gwen, the whole heat and stuff, this is gonna be worth a few bucks. And nobody wanted it.
The biggest bane to my existence right now is S.H.I.E.L.D. number 9.
When you're trying to come up with an offensive movie that you want to reclaim, it's time to segue into the next porn comic segment, Adam.
How can you not have seen Airplane? What are you guys, young?
I talked to him directly, so I got a mass order. So I have like a good 5-inch stack inside my comic box.
Yeah, right on.
That's below average.
Hulk! Smash!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hey Kids Comics Radio Show. I'm one of your hosts, Martin Bruto, and with me today are
Adam Bishop,
Chris Ellis,
and Dan Collins.
Gentlemen, we are back.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yes.
Been a while. I was going to sing the Enterprise theme song, but then I'd probably get lynched. Nobody likes that theme song.
Is it the theme song or the singing?
I guess. I don't know. There's a whole YouTube thing about it and how it was like some insider in the studio. It was their song that they wrote so they could get like extra money for putting it in their own show, and the executive producer hated it, but it was too late, and I don't know. It's a whole YouTube video. Go find it. Go find it. But yeah, we've been cut out for the summer, so I take the summer off. So there was no show during the summer. I lied. We did say we were going to try to get together and put a couple of shows together, but it didn't happen.
We tried. We can say we tried.
Did we try?
Did we?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the memo.
Nobody had to know. All they had to know is we tried.
You know now.
There you go. And
Gave
of course,
it all away.
And of course, since none of us read comics anymore, we can't do a show about what we've read and what's coming up, and there's no news. So
What you're supposed to do, Marty, is be like, Hey Kids Comics is back, all new and improved, and then launch into something cool instead of making it like, well, because we don't do any of these normal things, we're gonna do something different.
I am starting off on a bit of a downer note. It's like, okay, you know that shitty show we used to do? We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to make a different show.
Well, I have no shortage of new comics to read. I just have time to actually do it.
There's a bucket of comics here to read, but I don't know about you guys, but my pull list is at the absolute lowest it's ever been since I've ever had a full-time job. I think I'm getting 6 comics a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a high of 46 in 2016, and now I get 6. And 2 of those are miniseries that are ending.
Nice.
I'm at my highest, which has always been my highest, which is 2. 2 concurrent issues right now. It's either like X-Force, Cable, Generation Hope, but now it's just Beast Wars, and I don't remember the other one. I have 2 comics. I don't remember what they are. Fight Girls.
Fight Girls. How did you forget?
You can't
Fight
remember
Girls?
the 2.
I haven't read any of them.
That's funny. Has Fight Girls number 2 come out yet? Because I haven't seen it.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so I guess it's not on my pull list.
Uh-oh.
I'll get the trade paperback when it comes out. We'll do it that way. But we thought maybe that instead of talking about new comics, again, since we don't read any, we'll talk about our experiences at comic conventions since Comic Cons are coming back.
Here's hoping.
Like if you follow some of the guys from the Fan Expo, they had a really good show in the States there in Florida, of all places, Florida. Mm-hmm. And another show that went really well, and everybody's being safe and stuff like this. So it seems to be going good. So thumbs up that the Fan Expo in October is going to happen. I have a wedding to go to Saturday and Sunday, so I'll probably only show up for the Friday of the show. But I'm going.
Nice.
Should be fun. I mean, we'll just glove up and sanitize, and we'll be a-okay. So,
silence.
ComicCon experiences. I'm going to go first with the first story because I feel like as the senior representative of the team, I can probably shed some light on what comic conventions used to be like and what
senior
some of us crotchety old men constantly. There's not a comic convention if there's people from wrestling there. And I'll be the first one to tell you there was a wrestler at the first Comic-Con I was at. So very first Comic-Con experience. I cannot remember the year. I'm guessing somewhere around 2002, 2000, 1999, somewhere around there. It was downtown Toronto at a Holiday Inn in a conference room of all places. And it was just tables. And on the tables were just long boxes. And in the long boxes were comic books. That's all there was. Just comic books and long boxes. You went in, buy some comics, search for some comics. It was kind of sketchy going in because the carpet was kind of gross in that conference room. And there was a bit of a funk going on. But in the far corner at a table was a wrestler, and I cannot for the life of me remember who he is, signing autographs with a little handmade cardboard paper sign with his name and how much the autograph was, $10 an autograph or whatever it is. And I can't even tell you who put it on. Like, I'm not sure if this is one of the old Paradise Comic conventions or some other convention. Like, I just can't remember what it was called. But yeah, I mean, it was like one of them dark and dingy comic book cons that just had comics. It was fun though. It was good. I bought a stack of comics dirt cheap. It was all right. We got lost getting there, but it was fun. So I feel like somebody somewhere is going to remember that comic convention, and they're going to be like, that was Jake the Snake, and that was in 2006, and yeah, somebody will remember it.
Yeah. Did you ask Sam?
I didn't because we didn't hang out together back then. We knew of each other, but we weren't.
He still probably knows who the wrestler is.
Maybe he loves talking to wrestlers and getting the story about wrestlers and the behind the scenes stuff. He just absolutely loves chatting with wrestlers. They have some pretty cool stories.
Yeah.
So what was one of your first cons?
The first con I ever went to was Wizard World. Ooh. So it was just after Wizard World. Maybe it was their second or third after they bought the Paradise Comic Show. And we went up on the Sunday, and I'd never been to a con before, didn't know what to expect. So we get there, and it's it was in the North Building at the Convention Center in Toronto. And so that was kind of odd. I mean, usually it's always in the South Building, unless it's Fan Expo where it's both. But so anyways, we spent some time cruising around and looking at all the stuff. And yes, there was a wrestler there too. The Honky Tonk Man was there. So we talked to the Honky Tonk Man for a bit and did some cruising. I picked up Teen Titans 2, the first appearance of Deathstroke, for like $30. And I almost bought a near mint New Mutants 98 for $75, and I only had $60 left.
Oh no!
And that was all I had in my pocket, and the guy just would not deal with it. He just wouldn't give me a deal on it at all. He just was like, no way, man, no way. And then, of course, like 3 months later, that was like an $800 comic book. So it was just like, I kind of wish I'd have borrowed money from Martin. And just because it would have been good to have that one in the old collection at that time. But
now was Neil Adams at the top of the escalator?
Not that year, no.
Okay, because I was at that convention too, and I got a story about that because Neil. I mean, who doesn't have Neil Adams stories? But all right, who else? Dan, Adam.
I don't know if I remember my first convention. How can you remember your first convention?
I don't know. Two of us did already.
And you're both older than me, so
you get to knock the cobwebs out and stuff.
I don't know. I remember early conventions.
Yeah, it's good.
I do have a different first convention story that I can tell, which is today is the 4-year anniversary of the first time I tabled at a convention.
Yes, right on.
There you go.
So that popped up in my Facebook memories today, and I was like, oh, 4 years, pretty cool. So that one was one of the Lindsay Comic-Con put on by David Wildstar, who I didn't know well at that point. Like he was just a complete stranger who I happened to be doing this convention with. And now, I know David from doing multiple conventions, but yeah, sat in the Lindsay Mall. It was in the Lindsay Mall. And I sat at a table in front of like Reitman's or something in the Lindsay Mall. I had the Little Aurora Man prologues mini comic that was 4 pages long, and that was it for this one. So I was literally there with this and some like magnets and swag and stuff, and just talking to people. And like one of the first guys that I had come up to my table looked like he just escaped from the hospital, because he had a hospital bracelet on and or cut out. I accidentally was playing with my cord. He comes up to the table and he asked me for his he asked for my autograph, and he pulls out a prescription and gets me to sign the back of his prescription, not the front. I wasn't pretending to be a doctor, just the back of his prescription. And I was like,
okay,
is this what Comic-Cons are like?
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not as cool as sign my boob, but
no,
sign my pharmacy receipt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope that guy's doing okay.
How about you, Adam?
I don't know what my first one was. It's one of two. It's either my time that I went with Dan to the Comic Appreciation Day, or when I went to Fan Expo. I think I went twice, and I was like, never again. But the first one was when I got John Rhys Davies to sign my Sliders DVD. So it's one of those two. I don't know which one, because I don't keep track of time that well for things like that. I have no idea. I like to think it was with Dan though, just so he gets that.
I hope that was your first time.
Yep, just me walking around while Dan was in line to get autograph from the Green Lantern guy. Who was it?
No,
some guy.
No. I don't remember getting any autographs that time.
No, I have no idea then. Maybe to buy. He was doing sketches for people.
But I'm not the kind of guy that waits in line for autographs or sketches.
You were waiting for something. And you were so mad. You're like, it hasn't moved because this guy's getting a sketch. And I'm like, cool.
I mean, I do recall, I recall that exact incident. However, I don't recall who it was or why. Like I don't get autographs from people. Maybe I don't get famous people's autographs. Yeah, maybe I just wanted to buy a comic off his table. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do remember that you bought a sword.
Yes, and almost forgot it. You're like, don't you want to go get your sword? I'm like, there can only be one. That's true. I need it. It's my Highlander sword.
And then I was actually telling this story the other day to somebody about how you brought it home on the GO train, and it's in this big box that looks like a sword, and you're like, I hope nobody thinks there's a sword in here. I don't think I'm allowed to bring this on the train.
It was boxed up. It was fine. Yeah, that was right at the beat. Like we got there and I was like, swords. And then
literally,
yeah, I bought it. And I'm like, can I leave it here? He's like, yeah, let me write your name on it. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, like some of those weapons dealers that are at the, you can't call them anything but a weapons dealer. Like I got a retracting Stinger whip at one comic convention, switchblade, brass knuckles. I'm like, none of this is legal. You can't sell this. How is this happening?
Give me another one.
They're entertainment too. They're just for entertainment. They're not actual weapons.
Yeah.
Didn't stop me from buying them though.
Yeah. So you can punch your LARP brother right in the face with the brass knuckles.
While we were digging at that fan appreciation. What was it called, Dan? Was it just a fan appreciation?
It was the December, the Toronto Comic-Con fan appreciation days or whatever.
Yeah, we were digging
the
through
December event.
we were digging through long boxes of trade paperbacks, and Dan's just like, I just want this one book. And he's like, what was it? It was like
it was
Lex for
Superman.
President?
Yes, the President Lex, Superman President Lex. I can't believe you remember. This was like 7-8 years ago.
Dan just so upset. I'm just looking for this one book, and then he gets it to it, and he just starts yelling. He's like, I can't. He's like, F yeah. But the whole thing.
Okay,
he's so excited.
Wait, but it's better than this. It's better than this because this was. I don't know even why I wanted the storyline. Like, I'd probably just read something about this storyline. I was like, this is what I was looking for. And I looked for it all day. And Adam was like, okay, like it's 4:00, it's 5:00, we should go. And I was like, yeah. And then as we're walking out, I'm like, no, I'm going to check another table or two. And I ran back and checked a few tables and found it at like the last table I was checking. A table that I wouldn't have even checked. Like we were on our way out. And I was like, no, I want to check just one more place. And I found it. And so that's why I was so excited. I read the story. It sucks. but
oh no.
That is one of my top, Adam. That is one of my top Comic-Con stories is about to leave disappointed and deciding to check a few more tables and finding that book. Oh, good times. Also, that you changed my life forever. Because that was the Comic-Con. That was the Comic-Con where you bought the Web of Spider-Man #1 CGC 9.6.
Uh-oh.
And on the train ride back, when I had a stack of trade paperbacks that I bought for the same price that he paid for his one comic, we were talking about the value of actual comics versus just buying to read them. And Adam unwittingly turned me from a comic reader into a comic collector that day. So thank you for the divorce and thank you for the debt.
You're welcome. I have no idea
No,
where that
kidding.
CGC book is. I sold it, I think. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you sold it years ago.
Yeah.
Just absolute disappointment that it's all Adam's fault.
Yeah. But yeah, like we were on the train and we were reading, I was flipping through my comics and we started talking about CGC stuff and how, trade paperbacks are worthless. It's just for entertainment to read. And the fact that, the CGC book might be worth something. And that struck a chord and I started to collect actual comics instead of just collecting the trade paperbacks. So
You actually have to sell them to make money though, right?
Yes.
but you can make theoretical money by buying them and holding on to them when they increase in value. I'm rich in theoretical value.
Oh, me too.
That Secret Wars #8 you got off me for a great price. It's just like
a great price, but we'll see what happens. It'll probably tank after the next Spider-Man movie doesn't feature him in a black suit. Right?
That's a possibility.
And then I'll come back to you begging for you to buy it at half of what you sold it to me for.
Well, I was I'm trying to remember what year it was exactly. The convention that I thought I was at with you, Chris. It was either 2005 or 2006, but it was at the North Building as well in Toronto, the Metro Toronto Convention Center, North Building.
Yeah.
And this was the first time I went to a big convention, so to speak, quotation marks. And again, I can't remember. I think it may have been called Fan Expo then, maybe not yet. Maybe it was called Wizard World. I can't remember. But ordered the tickets online. It was a huge thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big thing. Ordered online. And you had to go pick up the tickets. So me and a friend of mine that passed away a few years ago, we got there. Big, huge lineup all along the sidewalk there on Front Street, right? Just a big, It is Front Street, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Big, huge lineup. I just walked right past everybody because I didn't know. I thought maybe they were, you buy your tickets and then you go stand in line. Walked right past them, opened the door, walked right in, right past the security guards. Now, granted, I'm wearing slacks and a polo shirt, a little Southern California business casual instead of, the t-shirts and on the cosplay and stuff. So I don't know if somebody thought maybe I was important or whatever, But me and the fellow, we just walked right in, found the place where the tickets were, got the tickets. And she was like, the doors are opening in a few minutes. If you guys just want to hang out for a bit, we're like, okay. So we're just standing there shooting the poop. Security guards are coming and start chasing everybody out of the hallway so that they go line up. So I was just about ready to start walking out. The security guard walks right in front of me, looks me dead in the eyes, says, hey, and then walks away. And I'm like, hey to you too. So we just stood there at the bottom of the escalator. And as soon as the doors open, we're literally the first people up the escalator. We didn't have to stand in line or anything like that. I don't know, again, mistaken identity or what the case may be. But a few minutes before that, while we're standing in line, this little short guy in a blue shirt walks by. And I'm looking at my friend and he's looking at me and we're like, that was Neil Adams. This is like first time I've ever seen, a big comic book creator in person. And I'm like, no, that's not Neil Adams. That was Neil Adams. No, it can't be. Sure it is. Oh, it's got to be. I don't know. Maybe. So he and I are having this internal dialogue on whether it was Neil Adams or not. So then, the security guard and all that stuff. We get up the escalator and right at the top of the escalator is Neil Adams' table. Big, huge table. And sure enough, he's there in that trademark blue shirt of his. And I was just dumbfounded. I was just like, this is my idol. This is my comic book artist idol. I've loved Neil Adams for decades before and just everything, right? So we get to the table and I'm the introvert. My buddy's the extrovert. So he's like, hey, Neil, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Welcome to Canada, eh? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, So it's like, he's talking to my buddy. The buddy's like, okay, great. And then Neil Adams looks at me dead in the eyes. And I'm just like, and he's like, you want me to sign something? And I was like, and I looked down at the table and there was this, looks like a Conan print, right? And I just like grabbed it, kind of moved it across the table like a numpty and just went, So he signs it, to who? And
I don't know how to spell that.
Yeah, exactly. My friend's like, sign it to Martin. He's like, signs it Martin. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, he must have thought I was special needs. There's no way. He must have thought that I had a tragic brain injury and got hit by a bus when I was 12 or something, because I was just complete fanboy out. I just couldn't articulate. Well, I can barely articulate now, but I couldn't articulate anything. So that was my very first experience meeting Neil Adams at that con. It was pretty cool, but well, not really.
You weren't cool.
No, not at all. Not even a little. Man, I was lukewarm at best.
I waited in line one day, and typically when it comes to like meeting celebrities, I got no interest in it. Really, like, comic artists, creators, I'll wait in line to see them. But I just, Ray Park came to Toronto for, it was the March ComicCon, so it wasn't even Fan Expo. I mean, it's by Fan Expo, but it's not classified as Fan Expo. So we waited for like 45 minutes, I guess, maybe, in line. We were like, Martin Peterson and I were like the first people in line, just raring to go. And yeah, he was honestly a really cool guy. He was funny. He was telling stories and joking, and it was just kind of a neat little experience just to talk to him. And he signed my Darth Maul mask, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And he signed some Snake Eyes thing for Martin. So it was just a neat kind of experience to just talk to somebody who's done some cool stuff that I appreciated. Like I liked him as Snake Eyes and as Darth Maul, and kind of Toad really didn't use him very well, I don't think, but from the X-Men. But it was neat to talk to somebody who's done some cool things.
Oh, Ray Park's awesome. He's just wicked, and he really engages with the fans too.
Yeah,
like I personally, anyways, have never heard a negative Ray Park ComicCon story. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't heard one.
You'd have to be a real butthead or something in order for him to be negative at all. Like, he's just really happy just to meet the fans. So as long as you're like coming at it from that perspective, like, I mean, I guess if you came up to him and you're like, you know what, Snake Eyes sucks and like, you're a terrible actor, I'm sure he might have a different opinion of like how that conversation all goes. But no, he was just a fantastic guy to chat with. So that was kind of the first celebrity that I've ever met at a Comic-Con. Now, I did wait for like an hour the first time I ever met Jason Liu. He was coming to a Pickering. It was actually just a comic shop, and they had rented a room or something, and so it was the first time I met Shay too. Yeah, Shay on. So it was the first time I'd ever met Shay, and we had I was waiting for Jason to show up because he was running late. I was talking to Shay, and so, but I only brought enough money to buy the Pitiful Human Lizard stuff from Jason, so I felt kind of bad. So I bought the big Kahuna pack from Shay in March at the Comic-Con after that. So, but yeah, no, that was kind of so that was probably the longest I ever waited to meet an artist too. But although I did wait with you when you were waiting for Denny to sign, was it Denny?
Denny O'Neill.
Denny O'Neill, yeah, to sign that Green Arrow book or something that you had.
Yeah,
Green Arrow book for me.
No, for a birthday.
Different Green Arrow book.
Yeah, for a birthday, I got a hardcover of Heart Traveling Heroes, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, done by Neil Adams and Denny O'Neill. And it came directly from Neil Adams, and it had a little head sketch in it. It said, to Martin, and blackest day and brightest night, no evil shall escape my sight, with a head of Green Lantern. So when I heard Denny O'Neill was going to be there, and Denny, he was getting a little old. You got to take advantage when you can, like these guys, So I popped in there with you guys and got him to sign it, and so it's signed by Neil Adams and Denny O'Neill. I got to find out who are to do a little deep dive in the credits and see if I can get some more signatures from some of the other like the pencil, the letterer and the colorists and stuff. And see if we can.
I have a volume signed by Denny O'Neill and Neil Adams of the Hard Traveling Heroes, and yet I have met neither of them.
Oh, there you go.
Jason Lapidus from the group of 7 was kind enough to help me acquire. I think you got me one, Marty. Do you remember who you got me? Was it Denny or Neil?
Yeah, it was probably Denny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then probably Denny at the same line that I was in.
Probably, yeah. And then Jason was able to get me Neil Adams's autograph. So I have both of them in the Hard Traveling Heroes trade paperback. But yeah, haven't didn't meet either of them.
No.
So that's how my life goes.
Funnily, surprisingly, humorously, Adam went to BMV recently, and I got all excited that he went. So I went, what was it, like a day later, 2 days later, the next weekend. And I'm, hardcover idiot now. So I had Batman by Neil Adams Volume 1, and I needed Volume 2 and 3. So I went out there, and, this is the way my brain works. I had a earlier print of Volume 1, and the new print of Volume 1, 2, and 3 have like special foil number. Like, it looked different. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll buy 1, 2, and 3, and I'll sell my 1 so that it's a complete set. And they had 2 copies of each, and one was slightly cheaper than the other one. And I'm looking at the cover, and I'm like, I don't know why this is cheaper. Like, this is the same book. And I'm looking at the Volume 2 copies, and they're the same book. Like, I couldn't figure out why the one was cheaper, one set was cheaper, one set was more expensive. I figured, maybe these were priced earlier and didn't have the new price. So I bought the 3 cheaper volumes, got them home, opened them up. To Dave from Neil Adams, signed right inside the inside covers. So I got, my name's not Dave. I got 3 more. 3 more Neil Adams. Yeah. You Martin Dave Baruta. Yeah, my middle name's Dave. So I don't know if Neil knows this, but his signature on a book is
Actually devalues the book.
Actually devalued the book.
Mhm.
I'm sure what it is it was sold as used and the other ones were sold as new or whatever. But
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to change your name to Dave, Dan.
Dan's close to Dave.
Yeah. Maybe we I don't know, liquid paper?
Just cross it out,
yeah.
write your name in.
Wonder how much Neil would charge me to put a line
I was just
through
gonna
Dave
say
and write down Martin.
$40.
Yeah. I was gonna
Full
get
price.
I was gonna get Neil to sign. We were at one show and he was at it, and I've picked up the Mr. T book, and he was the artist for Mr. T. And so the book that I got, it had like the regular A cover, I guess, and it was like Mr. T's face, like a picture, and then there was the gold cover, so it had Mr. T, but it was in gold, and it was already signed, like it came signed. It's in this like trifold thing. It was kind of neat. And but I was going to get him to sign the other book, but he wanted like $60 or something to sign, and I'm like, I don't like him enough to pay $60 to have him sign it. Like, I guess like Martin
Sign a joke book.
Yeah, just sign a joke book. But like, I guess Martin's just he's read books that are older than the ones that I was reading. So like the guys that were more influential to me would have been like Todd McFarlane and those the 90s guys, as opposed to the the 70s. And 80s guys. Yeah, the 70s and 80s guys. So but yeah, that's it was kind of again, it was a gag book too, and I was just like, oh, get Mr. T signed by the guy who did it, right? And not for that kind of money.
I do have one more Neil Adams story. One more. I just popped out for a sec to see if I could find it, but because I thought it was here, but it's not. I saw Neil at a con, and I'm not sure which one, but looking here at my archive of photos, I have photos starting in 2009 Fan Expo. I guess I didn't have a good camera before then or whatever, but so it's somewhere around 2009, 2010, 2011. Found Neil Adams, and those blank sketch covers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had just started coming out. So this was, I guess it was probably 2011-ish, because this is Green Arrow #1 blank sketch cover, I think. Anyways, I thought I'd find it and look at it, but long story short, go to Neil Adams' table, this blank cover. I'm like, hey, can I get a sketch cover? Can I get you to sketch Green Arrow on here? And he goes, sure. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, whatever, $50, $75, whatever it was. It wasn't that much back then. And so he's sketching away, and he goes, do you mind if I take autographs while you do this? And I'm like, no, of course not. Now, I didn't know the etiquette. Normally, it's like, can you do this sketch cover? Sure. Come back later. Don't stand hovering over me. So I'm standing there going, watching him draw, which is, fascinating in the first place. And he kind of, I guess I was in the way of signatures. So he had an empty chair beside me. He goes, why don't you just sit down here? And he wasn't I wasn't on his nerves yet, but I kind of feel like I might have been. So sit down, he's sketching away, and a few people would come by for autographs, and it wasn't like a steady line or anything. So we just started shooting the poop, talking about this, that, or anything. And he kind of guffawed after two guys came by to get signatures. He's like, you Canadians always saying A. And I was like, that's bull puckies. We don't say A all the time. Like, come on, that's a stereotype. And you're from New York. You say A at the beginning of your sentence. Like, we don't do that. He's like, oh, yes, you do. And I'm like, no, we don't. So we kind of giggled about that a little bit. And he's drawing, and a few guys come by. And the guy's talking to Neil. And every time he says A, Neil elbowed me in the ribs like this. And it held up his hand. So I was like, hey, you're Neil Adams, you're my favorite comic book artist, A. Bonk. Oh, I really wish can you sign this book, A? Bonk. And he just kept like, 3 guys came, and must have been 11 A's. I just looked down and said, oh, okay, well, I guess we do. I guess Canadians do say A a lot. What can I say?
Yep.
But yeah, he finished up the cover, and it was really cool because we were just sitting there shooting the poop about silly stuff, and asked him dumb questions about Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and he was more than happy to regale me with a story. Like, that's one thing about Neil. He might be exaggerating a little, you know, he might be telling fish tales, but they're entertaining fish tales. Like, he can entertain.
I remember one documentary, I don't know which one it is, I have it on DVD, but Neil Adams is talking about all these comic book properties becoming movies, and he just holds up his hand and he's like, see that? That's a $20 million idea right there. I'm like, what?
Well, I do know he's trying to get you know, his continuity studio stuff like Bucky O'Hare and Sam Marie and Skate Man. Can't wait to see a movie about Skate Man.
Captain Power. That's one of his. Yeah.
But it's good. It's good.
But I was in the age where I grew up with Bucky O'Hare as a cartoon, right? So I didn't realize that was his property at the time. But yeah, no, I enjoyed watching Captain Bucky O'Hare.
My friend had the bed sheets and all the toys. Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, just looking at these Fan Expo pictures from 2009, there's a picture of me and Dan DiDio. And I just remember I was walking down the hallway, like the aisles, and he's just walking the other way. And I just, you know, Tourette's or ADHD or whatever initial I have at the end of my name. I just like, Dan. And he just like turned. And I'm like, you're Dan DiDio. He's like, yes, I am. I'm like, I'm Martin. He's like, hi, Martin. I'm Dan. I'm like, hey, can I get your picture? He's like, yes. I don't have a camera. Oh, well, no picture. And then somebody, like, I think it was my brother-in-law or something, was a couple of people behind me. He's like, you need a picture, Marty? He comes up with his camera or whatever it was, takes a picture of me and Dan, and then, hey, okay, bye. It was like one of the most awkward exchanges. No, it was not. The Neil Adams one before was awkward. So I got this really wacky picture of me and Dan DiDio just standing there in the hallway going,
I love Sam's story about Dan DiDio, where he asks him the same question so many years in a row that Dan just knows him to answer it without even seeing it.
Swing with Scooter.
Yeah.
And is Swing with Scooter coming back? Is Swing with Scooter going to be a new 52 comic? And we have Swing with Scooter. Now, come on. Sam's a very, how should we put this? A very memorable, iconic individual from a looks point of view. You know, he's got the fedora. He's always wearing the suit jacket. He's got that cherub face of his. And when somebody who visually stands out is constantly asking for Swing with Scooter, probably the only guy asking for Swing with Scooter, that's got to stick in someone's head. That's got to be memorable.
Yeah,
that's got to be memorable.
True story.
That being said, I like Swing with Scooter. Let's get a Swing with Scooter Riverdale crossover going on.
I have no idea who Swing with Scooter is. Am I the only one, guys? Come on, help me out.
And 1960s, maybe into the early 70s, DC. I was going to say DC ripoff of Archie, but no, DC homage. DC Comics' contribution to the Archie style genre.
Ripoff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it was fun. It's a goofy little comic book.
So Marty told his fanboy story with Neil Adams before. I have one. I went to a convention a couple years ago. This was not too many years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And I had never met Richard Cumley before. And he was at the table, and Chris Gilpin was standing at the table with his dad talking to Richard. And I actually walked down the aisle and did a whole loop because I was like, no, I'll come back later. Like, I'm not ready to talk to him yet. And then Chris saw me and said, hey, Richard, this is my friend Dan. He loves Captain Canuck, and yanks me into the booth so Richard can engage with me. But that's my main fanboy. My main fanboy thing of being too shy to want to talk to somebody. But then I also had the fanboy moment from a couple of years ago when I got my picture taken with Richard holding up the holding up the poster that Andrew Thomas had made that was the cover for Canuck Adventures #1. You know, it was pretty cool to be standing there with Richard holding up this Captain Canuck property that I was working on. So 2 different types of fanboy moments, but
that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh yeah, I'm just looking through these photos, and it's like I got my photo there with Stan Lee in 2012 at Fan Expo.
Nice.
That was I mean, it's just a photo op, right? And it's like, get in, take your picture, get out, because there's a lot of people in line. So it was you know, you get there and he's like, hey there, true believer. I'm like, how you doing, sir? Picture. Okay, I'll see you later. Oh, okay, bye.
Yeah, that's one guy that I would have liked to have met that I never got a chance to meet, but yeah, that would have been neat.
Yeah, it was good. He had one of the talks too, and you know, he always does his it's kind of funny because I've heard the same stories from Stan a couple of times at different appearances and stuff. So it's almost like he had you know, just like a stand-up comic, he had a few good stories to pull out. Not like I haven't pulled out the Neil Adams stories that I have more than once on several occasions, you know, and trying to entertain someone. So, but he had a couple of stories there. I never did get that picture signed though. That was too bad. I should have tried to get it signed, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I have an autograph of Stan Lee. I got it from the Fan Expo. It was when they came out with I think it was volume 3 of Spider-Man. He didn't really have anything to do with it, but because he was the creator of Spider-Man, or co-creator, you know, he got the nod to sign all of them. So I bought it through Fan Expo, and it was not actually that expensive. It was like $100. And at that time, like a Stan Lee autograph, to actually go and see him would have cost me more than $100. So for the book and the autograph, if I'd actually gone to the Fan Expo, paid the ticket price, had the book, got him to sign it, it would have cost me probably more like $200 or $300 for the day, as opposed to ordering it for $100 online and having it mailed to my house.
Yeah, exactly. That could have been pricey for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was just gonna say, I miss going to the cons, and like, it's always fun to go and see everybody that you know. Like after hanging out with Marty at the shows, it's hard not to get to know the guys in Artist Alley. I mean, we spend a lot of time there if you go with him, so you get to know these guys, and you see them, and you chat with them and see what's new and exciting. And it's I kind of miss going and hanging out with all these guys again.
That's totally my jam these days. For comic conventions is get me to Artist Alley. I want to see, you know, the creators, the new up and coming guys and gals. Don't get me wrong. You know, pick up some of the like I remember. I can't remember which convention it was. I'm pretty sure this was one of the either, I think it was the spring one, or it was the spring Fan Expo one year. And I'm just talking with, I don't know, Ricky Lima or someone like that, and we're just talking about this, and they're like, Marty, you gotta go down 2 rows down, 3 booths up. There's a guy there with a comic book, and you gotta get it. It's just fantastic. I'm like, sure. So I, you know, make the trek, and it was Tommy Gun Banshee, which was a great comic book. I mean, that was just fun as heck. And the fact that it was printed on newsprint was all nostalgic building and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, this is great. And he had nothing, no banner, nothing, no tablecloth. It was just a table, a few comic books, and a little handwritten sign. And he's just like, you know, this forlorn look on his face. And yet the books were flying because, you know, the talk happened, the word of mouth happened, and everybody, you know, like Shehan knew about the book and stuff like this, and everybody was talking about it at that particular convention. That was sort of the buzz.
Marty, I don't want to make you feel not special, but Ricky did the same thing to me.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm positive. Like everybody at that show was talking up that book because it was so interesting and cool. And I don't know if did another issue ever get made, or
I don't know. I had the first one.
Yeah, there was a second issue. Yes.
Was there?
So I haven't read it. I might have to track the copy of that down. But
the thing that I love though about your story though is that's how I met Ricky. because I had met Kevin Brion through the show, and I went to visit him at Fan Expo when he was tabling, and he was like, "Hey man, you got to go check out Black Hole Hunters Club, Ricky and Shane. Like, you got to check them out." And I was like, "Okay," and I walked down and checked them out, and it was like love at first sight. So
yeah, it's one of the best things. Like it almost becomes a community. Like all these guys are like helping each other out and stuff like this. Like working with Jeff Burton. Every time, we need a couple of pinups for this issue? Never a problem to get creators to offer up support and draw something and stuff like this. Like it's just a great community. It just really is. It's kind of fun. I mean, I remember, I'm trying to remember which convention this was, but Tony White, right, managing editor of Chapter House or whatever, or I think he was just a editor back then, or whatever the title is. Forgive me, Tony. He and I kind of, because of my love of Captain Canuck, we chatted a few times and stuff. And randomly on Facebook on my phone, it's like, is anybody available at Fan Expo or whatever convention was right now? And I'm like 2 tables down from him, and I just walked over and like, hey, what's up? And he had to get dressed in the Captain Canuck costume for a display, and there wasn't enough volunteers to help at the table. So that was like the first time I ended up behind the table at a convention, was at the Chapter House booth, kind of just helping out there. And me, like I was like, oh, you gotta try, this is the new Captain Canuck, you gotta buy this, I'll buy you a copy, here, take this, shilling for Captain Canuck. And that was a lot of fun too. That was fun. I ended up doing that more than once at various tables and stuff like this at conventions. What was the one convention we were at that was really quiet? Oh, that was the Tri-City Con.
Okay.
One
Yes.
run by Richard
Kitchener?
Tumley.
Yes.
Yeah, by Kitchener. It was the first year. There was a conflicting convention there too. At the
Oktoberfest
same time
was happening.
It was Oktoberfest. And again, being a new convention, the attendance was probably not as great as it could have been, So like Carlos from Gotham City and Gotham Central and I are chatting there about, stuff, and other creators are there. Ivan was there. So I ended up spending a lot of time behind the table sitting with Andrew Thomas, just keeping him company. And it was just a place to sit, because once you went through and saw everything, there was nothing to see. And, it was far enough away. I think I had a hotel room or a motel room that I was there for the 2 days of the weekend. Right. So that was a lot of fun. But the funniest, wackiest, craziest story I got is when was it you, Chris, that got me to go to get Spawn?
Yes,
was it 300
absolutely.
or
299?
$299.
Yeah, $299. It was the Canadian variant. They only had 1,000 copies or something.
Right.
And he was handing them out at his booth, and I was like, hey Marty, if you could help a brother out, it would be awesome. So I really want this book.
So I was there all weekend. I was there the whole weekend. Right. So Friday or Thursday, whatever it is, I get there and it's like, oh, we're only selling so many a day, so that it's everybody has a chance to get it. So I was too late to get one. Saturday lineup, same story. I think I might have even been there Thursday. So I think it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, struck out, absolutely struck out. And I'm like, Chris is going to kill me. He's going to kill me if I don't come back with this comic book. I got to get this comic book. So Jason Lapidus was there with Chris from Group of 7 Comics, and we were shooting the poop and stuff like this there and talking and stuff. So Sunday, I decided to get there early, be first one in line, all that sort of stuff. There are a couple of people who had the exact same idea. So there's a big lineup at the escalator to actually get inside. Nobody's being let in. And I'm noticing down at the far end by the one food court. Remember, they used to have 2 food courts, one at each end.
Yeah.
But the other there's no security guard on the door. And people are just walking in and out with boxes of like potato chips and pizza boxes and supplies for the food court. So, okay. Flipped my badge around so you could only see the back of it. So you couldn't see that it was just a visitor pass. And I just Walked in, just walked right in. There were 2 security guards on the inside. I walked right past them. I'm like, hey, they're like, hey. So I'm like having deja vu of that time that I didn't get kicked out of the other one. I just walked right up, saw Jason and Chris setting up. Hey, how you guys doing? Walked over, saw a lineup already at Todd McFarlane's booth. I'm like, how is this possible? I snuck in here. So I go stand in line. I'm standing there. I'm shooting the poop with a couple of people there in line. They're all dealers trying to get copies of the comic book. And sure enough, some representative of Todd comes by. He's like, yeah, you dealers know the drill here. We're going to cut you off at 15 people. If you're not number 15, then you got to go because, we got to save some books for the fans and stuff like this. So I guess dealers were allowed to buy a couple of copies each day as well. So I'm standing in line, this big, huge, massive bouncer looking guy, security on the back. I mean, I'm not a small guy, but this guy, I'm a dwarf next to this guy. He comes up and he's looking everybody up and down, up and down, up and down. Walks over to me and he starts looking at me up and down. And I got my badge, like it says like visitor or whatever, or premium or whatever. That definitely wasn't a staff badge, but it's flipped around so we can't see it. And I kind of like trying to hide it and stand there with my arms crossed. He just looks me up and down, up and down. He goes, "You're number 16. You're going to have to go." And I was like, buzz buckets. Right? He's not kicking me out because I'm not supposed to be there. He's kicking me out because I'm number 16 in this line of only 15 people. So I'm like, God damn. So I'm like, okay, fine. Chris, you're done for. So I go back to Artist Alley. I'm figuring, there's no sense in going back out and standing in the line. I'm already inside. The place is opening up in 5-10 minutes. So I'm shooting the poop with some of the guys in Artist Alley and stuff. And then it dawns on me, hey, Polish guy, Dumbo, the dealers are limited, but you're literally like 2 tables away, 2 booths away from being the first guest of the show in line. So I'm like, so whatever it was, 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., whenever the doors officially opened, I just took my badge, flipped it over, ran over to Todd's table, and was number 2 in line. I don't know, I was number 2. Like, was there some other guy that snuck in through Pizza? But I was number 2.
Absolutely.
So I got 2 copies of the book then, and I was just like, yes, victory is mine.
Yep. And I was very happy because like literally the next day they were selling for like $500 on eBay.
Well, that's what somebody was saying, that like Saturday already on eBay they were showing up.
Yeah.
That they were already being marked up. But to know Todd was there and got the book. I can't remember, did I get him to sign yours or not? I think that was extra.
Yeah, I don't think he was signing them. I think he was pushing people along.
Yeah. Yeah,
there was you got your signed, you bugger.
No, there was something there. I think he definitely did say hi and stuff like this, and thank you for buying the book. But yeah, now that I think about it, no, nobody was getting anything signed there. But yeah, that was fun. It was kind of interesting sneaking in like that. I've done that technique a few times since then.
Yeah. I'd like to meet Todd McFarlane. He's on my to meet list. I'd like to go and talk to him one day. And I've been collecting Spawn since like, I know Spawn started in like 92, 93, but I didn't pick it up till about 95 or 96, I guess. It was up around issue 60, I guess. So for me, I had to buy back all of the first 60 issues and then move ahead. So, yeah, I'd like to meet him. Yeah.
Well, we got a couple of minutes left. We haven't heard much from Adam there.
I've been listening.
You go to shows too, don't you?
I've been to more wrestling shows than I've been to comic convention, which is yep.
I can't remember which show it was or which wrestler it was. It might have been like Iron Sheik or something like this or somebody, but there was 2 wrestlers at the table. And again, I was there all weekend. Friday, $20 to say an autograph. Saturday, there's a line through the 20 and it says $15 an autograph. Halfway through Saturday, there's a line, $10 an autograph. I think it went all the way down to $5 by Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah. So what is it? October 27th, 28th, 29th? The Fan Expo happening in October in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's those are the dates.
I don't know. It's sometime in October. Honestly, I haven't really been following it. I didn't buy a ticket because I didn't want them to cancel it on me. And I know you've been holding yours for since like 2019.
Oh yeah, this is the 2020 ticket that got refunded / turned into a 20 November ticket that then got turned into a 21 spring ticket that then got turned into a 2021 summer ticket. Now it's an October ticket. So it's changed a couple of times, but yeah, we're definitely gonna go and hang out and visit with some folks there. And I don't know. I mean, I know the borders are opened up, but I don't know how many American guests are going to be there, celebrities and artists. But again, I'm just going to catch up with all the local guys and see how things are going. And who knows? Maybe I'll buy a sword.
A sword?
We can have sword fights.
There you go. We'll have sword fights in front of the pizza. Well, gents, that's pretty much all the time we have. That was a hoot and a half. We'll have to figure out what we're going to talk about next week. But in the meantime, our time on the radio station has changed to 7 p.m. on Fridays at Trent Radio 92 point. Help me out here. 92 point.
Is it 7?
We are going to get in trouble for that. Trent Radio. It's on the website. Head to heykidscomics.ca. You'll see it. And of course, this will be available as a podcast on all the streaming platforms. Thank you once again, and have a great week.
You have been listening to the Hey Kids Comics Radio Show broadcast through the facilities of Trent Radio on 92.7 CFFF-FM in Peterborough, Ontario, and available as a downloadable podcast at www.heykidscomics.ca and at www.firstcomicsnews.com. Promotional consideration for the show was provided by no one. Are you kidding me? We couldn't get advertisers if we tried. Wardrobe for our hosts was provided by Joe Nerds in Whitby, Ontario. They don't know that fact, but that is where we get 90% of our clothes from. No animals were harmed in the making of this radio show. Marty tried, but allergies won't let him get too close to Sam's cats. The views and opinions expressed by Sam are solely his own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the rest of the hosts, as we all like The Walking Dead TV show. The Hey Kids Comics Radio Show is a Quinn Martin production and copyright Hey Kids Comico. Rebroadcasting in part or in whole of this show is forbidden, but really, who would want to anyway?
Level check for Eugene Levy CFFF promo. Take 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Good level?
Yep.
Bobby Bittman here. I always listen to Trent Radio 92.7. I love this guy, really do.
You do one more of those?
Sure. What was wrong with that one?
Nothing. I just was, the level was a little high.
Okay. Hi, this is Bobby Bittman. When I'm in the Kawarthas, I listen to Trent Radio 92.7 FM.